something went on here, something went on there. And
this time on TNT,
we debrief the East Coast rip of the Frigg Off Peckers Tour.
We got some pretty classic 95 jams.
And we play a weird new game called Workin Hard or Hawksley Workman. That's all coming up right now on TNT.
95.
We are back from the tour. Frigg Off Peckers, Frigg Off Peckers.
We got rid of all the sickness too. Frigg Off Peckers, Frigg Off Peckers.
We had so much fun with buds. Frigg Off Peckers, Frigg Off Peckers.
Oh, getting out to hang with the fortunate ones. Frigg Off Peckers, Frigg Off Peckers.
Let's start at the start. We started in Charlottetown, and it was great. Lots of buds came out.
It was,
Lavish boys were there.
Yeah.
And
Al Douglas and the boys.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun in Charlottetown.
Yeah, we sure did.
I was starting to come down with something. Mm-hmm. And I think it had to do with the time change from having been overseas. And, by the way, rave reviews for the sound on my headset mic.
Yes.
From Andrew Stokely, who's a certified audio bot.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think I was starting to come down with something in Charlottetown.
Mm-hmm.
Then we drove to Fredericton the next day. By 5 o'clock in the evening in Fredericton, before our show, I had absolutely no voice.
Yeah, gone.
And it's such a weird one, because I otherwise felt fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I debated, like, do we cancel the show and try to come up with another date to come back here, or do we find a way to somehow soldier through it? So I thought, in the spirit of Canadianity, buds would totally understand, they would appreciate the effort, and we were in town and ready to go, and like I said, I felt fine. So we did the show, and it went really well.
Yeah, it was good. I had to do a little more talking than normal, but at the same time, it was the people that were there were hilarious and fun and amazing. So the crowd was definitely filling in. We came up with Blank Looking Mask, the game that you write on erase boards. So
great.
Which was a great idea. That definitely helped.
You and Lisa found dry erase boards at Dollarama, right?
Yes, that's right. $2.
So buds would come up on stage and we would just write down, like, let's see what we can do to get you behind the wheel of a Nissan Sentra looking mask.
Yeah, we had a great time with that.
Crushed it. And the other thing that we stumbled upon in Fredericton, which worked with my voice, was Joe Vanelli having a sit-down conversation with his father.
That's right.
In which he says, Joe, you got to find your own path in the world. You can't just ride in Gino's sidecar the whole time.
And he says, "But come on, Dad. I write the music. I'm right there. Just because I don't
nobody knows. Joe Vanelli, what is that? Nobody even knows. So that worked with my raspy voice.
Just because I have the same hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then we sailed into Halifax for a couple gigs at the Seahorse. And those went well. Yes. We had an early show on Saturday and a late show on Sunday, and both were well attended. And still wasn't feeling 100. Still didn't have full voice by any means, but got through them.
Yep. And then I started feeling sick the next day.
That was the thing. That was Monday.
On the way to St. John's.
Yeah, and then Tuesday we went to St. John's and had a show Tuesday night at the Ship Inn.
Yes, and that was good times.
It was great times. So here's where.
Yeah.
Phone's ringing, bud.
Phone's
ringing?
Should
I answer it or just let it ride?
It's up to you. You could answer it. Might just throw it in there.
Oh, my gosh.
I can say that we had such a good time with the Fortunate Ones, buds, Andrew and Patty, his brother, taking care of us, and obviously Catherine coming up and killing it on True Colors. Yeah,
we did In the Booth, which is really fun. Rose Cousins showed up in Halifax.
She did, actually, yeah. Rose Cousins killed True Colors, and then it was our bud Catherine that killed it. My Heart Will Go On. That's what it was.
Oh yeah, right. And she did a great Celine, and Rose did a great True Colors, and it was like really kind of special and nice to close your eyes and just listen to beautiful singers sing beautiful songs. Andrew from Fortunate Ones sang, what was it? I Would Do Anything for Love?
Yeah, no, that's what I sang. Did he do that too?
No, what did Andrew sing?
I'm trying to remember. I'm blank. I almost blanked.
I Don't Want to Miss a Thing.
That's right. And he killed it too.
So
And
in
you got him to
the
throw. We did swearioke with him, which is where you start throwing fuckins.
yeah, really subtle swallowed ones.
Swallowed swearioke, which is a great addition.
It's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of the things from the pod that we did live on the stage were really a treat and really fun to discover this time.
Yes, 100%.
And as always, the warmth and Canadianity of the buds that came out to the shows, like everybody has a story about when they listen and why they listen and how they discovered it and things that had helped get them through. You know, I was going through a hard time or going through a breakup or someone in my family was sick. And to that end, this is what happened in my life on tour. Part of the reason that it's been a challenge to get pods out on a regular basis the last several months is because my mom has been sick. And I think I've alluded before to the fact that she had Alzheimer's. She was diagnosed in the last couple of months with lung cancer as well.
Yep.
And though that sounds like a terrible combo, the reason why it was actually pretty merciful is because her brain didn't really know to the full extent that her body was taking its toll.
Yep.
So she wasn't aware that she was as sick as she was. And one of the early things at the memory clinic that we learned is don't tell people with Alzheimer's or dementia bad news, because every time you tell them, it's like learning the first time. So where's my husband? Oh, he died. That's trauma over and over again every single time.
Yeah.
So my mom had been living in a care facility since the start of the summer, and I'm a pretty private person. I debated even talking about this on the pod, but buds are so generous with what they share with us, and we're usually pretty candid about what's going on in our lives. So I've been traveling a lot this month, as you know, with Europe and with the tour. So I was talking to the hospice worker at the place where she lived, and I said, I feel really weird about going away. Like, should I cancel all of this stuff and just be here? And she said, well, we tell people to tell your loved ones how you feel about them every time you see them. Great advice for life. She said, we encourage people to go on with their lives, and every time you're going somewhere, tell her where you're going, tell her when you'll be back, and if she should choose to leave while you're gone, then she might have been waiting for you to go, and if she needs you, maybe she'll wait till you're back. Yeah. What beautiful advice to give the family members of a person who's going through something.
Yeah,
now in the big picture,
that's crazy.
She wasn't restless or angry or unaware. She knew who we were. She wasn't suffering. As far as what she was tangling with goes, she was doing about as well as someone could. Mm-hmm. She laughed every time I went to see her, even though the conversation might be a little repetitive or a little disjointed. I always left feeling like I got a solid visit with my mom. Yeah. So I visited her on Monday and picked you up at the hotel. You came down to our house. The girls are still saying alert, alert, because they fell in love with Anna saying it so much. And Indy now says 7 times a day. That was classic, because she heard Uncle Jerry use that a lot, which is really cute.
That's awesome.
So Tuesday we go to St. John's, and Tuesday afternoon I get the call that my mom had passed away. Yeah. And I debated, again, canceling the show. I debated flying home. I debated any number of things, as you would. Mm-hmm. But I knew that it was peaceful. I knew that it was mercifully quick. And I knew that my mom wouldn't want to stick around for 15 years with serious dementia, not knowing who or where she was. I knew that in a strange way, this combination of things made it happen quickly, and nature took its course rather swiftly, which was really a blessing, because her quality of life would only have continued to diminish and diminish.
Yeah, and you said it was just starting to get to the point where it was uncomfortable for her most.
It was just
most
starting
of the
to
time.
get to the point where it was uncomfortable because
Yeah.
it sounds like lung cancer might be the last manifestation, whereas it might already be in other parts of your body. So she
Yeah.
may well have had bone cancer, though they don't know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The point is, she didn't suffer, and her candle kind of flickered and went out. It was the dream scenario as far as how you would hope someone's life would come to an end.
Yeah.
I wasn't there when it happened, but as I did every time I saw her, I told her how much I loved her and how happy I was that she was my mom and what a good mom she was. So I felt on really good terms with her. She knew how I felt about her, and per that hospice woman's instinct, I guess she went when she was ready to.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, like I said, about canceling the show, about not doing it. I felt kind of weird for a minute about being away. I obviously wanted to be with Carol and the girls, and so I made a decision that afternoon. And though you knew something was up, you didn't know what because I didn't tell you exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought, what better place to be than in the friendliest city in Canada, where warmth and kindness and generosity abounds,
Yep.
in a legendary, cozy pub called The Ship,
Mm-hmm.
with people who embrace Canadianity and the spirit of all that is good about our podcast and our dynamic, and sharing stories and, singing songs. What better tribute to my mom, and what better distraction would there be than going ahead with the show?
Yeah. And
So that's what I did, and it was a special.
It was a great show. It was
a great show. It had
Yeah.
a different tone, maybe more noticeable to me. It was more kind of warm and squishy, and a little more conversational, and a little less shticky.
Yeah.
But I couldn't have imagined, given the circumstances, being anywhere else. I was so happy and thankful that you were there. You're such a good friend to me.
Thank
And
you, man.
people were really moved by the show and really enjoyed it, and we got nice tweets from people saying, like, thank you so much for your generosity and shared stories and hilarity.
Yeah.
So there you go.
No, it was. I got to give credit to you for being there and getting through it, because I mean, it's not something that most people could understand. And although I know it's fresh still, and you might still be in a limbo in a sense of understanding, but like we're always hanging, and I'm here, and give me hollers
man.
whenever you need.
Thanks. And like I said, I'm a pretty private person by nature, and it's not something that I necessarily feel the need to share with the masses. But I know from the emails we get and from the conversations I've had that our podcast helps people, deal with stuff that's going on in their own lives, and people are dealing with stuff that's as big and as real as what I went through this week.
Yeah.
So I guess for that reason, and because warts and all, we are always authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I just wanted to be very candid about what I went through. And, I loved her. I'm so thankful that it didn't drag on. All I'd been saying since the diagnosis was, I really hope that nature takes its course.
Mm-hmm.
And that is exactly what happened. So despite the outcome, which was inevitable, this was the best possible scenario.
Yeah. And you mentioned that to me, that just the fact that she had mentioned earlier in her life that she didn't want to be in that position of lingering pain and suffering.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's good to know that it happened like that.
Yeah, she really didn't. She wouldn't have wanted to, have it drag on. And I know lots of us have had family members that are in kind of a hold pattern for 10 or 15 years, or imagine going to visit someone who doesn't even know your name. She knew who we were till the end. She got so much joy out of her granddaughters, and I teased her mercilessly. But I'll tell you something, there are big life events and milestones. As a parent, telling your kids that their grandmother has passed is like wow, this is a really big life event that, you know, you only get one crack at. And
it's amazing that you have a great family, though, to be with and to deal with. But I mean, how did it go through with the girls? Were they?
Shug's a little older,
yeah.
So I told her first, and she's a very feeling, concerned, warm person. So her first thought was of my mom's roommate, who's just a sweetheart of a woman, and she and my mom were really, really tight homies.
Yeah.
So she said, you know, is she sad? Which was very selfless. Mm-hmm. And told Indy too, and she was pretty bummed out. But I said, ask any questions that you can, because it's something that even adults don't really understand. And the best thing we can do to honor her is to talk about her and remember funny stories about her and say her name a lot. But I remember when we had to, it's obviously a little different, but we had to put a horse down this summer, and I asked a friend of mine, Heather, who is an animal expert, I said, what do I tell the girls? And she said, you tell them the truth, because any version of the horse is away at the vet's, or we gave the horse to another farm, or the horse moved, that'll just keep bringing up more and more questions like, well, can we go visit, and where is the horse, and whatever. Whereas if you're honest with them and try to explain things the best you can, then it's a little harder at first, but they kind of grasp it better. Yeah. And kids get it. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, these guys have, you know, been alive through the loss of friends and grandparents and great-grandparents, as a matter of fact, and animals, pets. Yeah. So I think, you know, they kind of understood this fairly easily. But, you know, Indy was like, how long has she been sick? How did she die? When did her memory start going? Mm-hmm. And when you say, you know, she's only 5, but like, remember how you would say something to Susan and then she would ask about it 10 seconds later? Like that's kind of the earliest sign that maybe her memory is starting to go a little bit. Mm-hmm. So they totally understand.
Okay, cool. It was a great time, by the way, at your house, I gotta say.
It is. It's a nice, happy place. We barbecued some hamburgers, Mrs. T's recipe style.
And then it was. I was feeling off, so it was like being home. So I really got a lot out of the day. It was great. It was
nice to have you here. There's so much. There's laughter and hugs, and the girls just loved you, and were so bummed out when you left. But that's one of the things that I love about our house is it's welcoming and it's warm and it's cozy and it's not formal or uptight. Yeah. It is like a house of Buddhism.
It is.
So I think in a way when I was in St. John's and got that news, part of me was like keeping a stiff upper lip and wanting to kind of keep it together and focus on the positive aspects of it and stuff. And then when I got home, the girls picked me up at the airport and Carol came into Halifax with me, and together with my sister we had to empty the contents of her room and things like that, which wasn't a really fun task. Yeah. So I got home later that night and walked in the door, and it's a log place, as you know, and I smelt the wood and I felt safe and comfortable and maybe exhaled for the first time. Mm-hmm. So I was walking into our bedroom with my suitcase, and I was going to set it down, and I wasn't even really sure what I was going to do, have a shower or something, just enjoy being home. And I felt the tears start to come for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And they were sitting on my eyelids, and they were big and heavy like boulders. And you know when you have the internal dialogue where you're like, okay, it's okay, buddy. Just cry. It's natural. Yeah. You should cry here. It's normal that you would cry. So as I was willing the tears to fall, I slipped in Henry shit on the floor, and I started laughing. And I got in the shower, and that was that.
It just shook you right out of it.
There you go.
Yeah.
That friggin' pecker. Let's take a break on TNT 95. When we come back, I bet you have some jams teed up for us.
Hell yes.
Brat, brat.
Let me ask you this right quick. You know what I mean?
It might be a 94 jam, but it's still funny.
Damn right it is.
And the reason that it's relevant is because we had a lot of time on the bridge from PEI to New Brunswick to talk about this song. And also, there were two funny things that came up on that drive. One is how the "Oi, ay, ah" lead might have ended up in Return to Innocence.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing was we started talking like Michael Caine, which was born out of talking like Donovan, who's met the Queen. And when we started saying Michael Caine, we realized when you say it fast, it sounds like my cocaine.
Yeah.
So then we started talking like Michael Caine on cocaine. I'm Michael Caine, I'm Michael Caine. And then you started saying, it's not your cocaine, it's my cocaine. I'm Michael Caine, I'm Michael Caine. How has no one ever done Michael Caine? It's amazing.
I don't know, but Donovan will.
Donovan, when he's working with Michael Caine. Working with Michael Caine. It's Michael Caine. So, this is how we imagined that lead ended up in the thing. Donovan is working in the studio, yeah? He spills a mountain of cocaine, Michael Caine, on the board, and has to call the Italian janitor who works at the studio, whose name is Giuseppe.
Hey Donovan, how are you doing? You're making the sexy music. I hear it from the
Giuseppe, I'm rather busy. Can you? I spilt my cocaine on the board. Can you clean it up quickly? I have a great beat. The song's missing something, but I'm in the pocket. So if you can clean it up, my cocaine, that would be great.
You don't even have to ask. You just you keep making that music.
You be careful. You're touching near that live wire.
Oh, I touch. My hand in a bird. What the hell you do? Why not you tell me?
It's so high concept.
Yeah.
Donovan has to get Giuseppe to clean up, and that he electrocutes himself. So
on the board, yeah.
Donovan's task is to come up with other ways for Giuseppe to hurt himself.
Yeah.
Like, can you step into the booth and tell me if the rat trap's still set?
And Giuseppe's always telling him, you don't tell me how to clean. I do the cleaning. You make it a porno music.
Can you put these clips on your nipples?
Yeah.
Real quick. Can you roll it, please? So Giuseppe was tricked into singing that lead, and every time Giuseppe's in pain, that is what he sings. So
Exactly.
Donovan would be breaking glasses on purpose and say, Giuseppe, can you pick up that glass for me?
Or giving him new potatoes from catering.
Yeah, the catering's
really
here. Help
hot.
yourself.
There's the steamer coming off them. These are hot.
They've been sitting there for hours. They're fine.
Thank you. I have a 1 or 2, okay? It's hot.
Giuseppe. So it was a fruitful drive from
Why you
Charlottetown
keep
to
doing this to
Fredericton.
me? Every time.
Yeah,
I had to do the cleaning. You don't hurt me.
but falls for it every time too.
Every time. He stops complaining when he starts getting the checks, or does he cut him out? He totally cuts him out, right?
Giuseppe would think he deserves a co-write on that song, right?
Yeah, when he hears it at a Starbucks one day.
Yeah, it's the "Ay Ay Ay" song.
Yeah.
What do you have for 95 Jams, bot?
Well,
Michael Caine. Michael Caine.
I got this little daisy doozy. You might have heard this one.
What? Was that really 95?
What's that?
Was that really 95?
Hell yeah.
Other thing that happened on the tour is because I lost my voice, we tried to do Andrea and Laramie.
Yeah,
but Laramie
you could
had
do
to take
Andrea.
care of me.
Laramie, take care of me.
Because her voice was right chat. And she asked Laramie if he had anything to help with her throat.
And Laramie, being a bod, says, okay, I'll do whatever you want. What do you want me to do?
That was pretty fun to imagine Andrea and Laramie on vacation. Like in Halifax, they were on the Harbor Hopper. You know, to use local references for Andrea and Laramie's trips.
I think it's just funny how she somehow got him to spoon with her.
Oh yeah, that was at one of the Halifax shows, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Larry, you know what would help me feel better is my Nana always used to spoon me when I was little and I had a cold.
Why do you keep doing that? Get your hands off of me.
Well, she also said there was a Werther's in her packet, and if I could find it, I could have it. I think here's what's happening in Andrea and Laramie world. I think Andrea is stepping up her game. She's making a push for Laramie, and Andrew from Fortunate Ones was asking, like, is Laramie softening at all? And I think the answer is no.
No.
I think the answer is no.
Still, where it could go is endless, and we've got some pretty funny ideas.
Really funny ideas.
Yeah. But so of course Hootie came on the scene and had many hits off of that on one album. But what about this jam? And don't hit the post, let me hit it.
Okay.
Bakadoom.
That was 95, hey?
Yeah.
I would have said for sure that jam came out when I was in high school. Which was before that. Can you allow yourself to admit that it's a great jam?
I just remember this song was in Nutty Professor.
Was it?
Yeah. That was like they're at the big club and Montel Jordan is pounding this out.
Oh, those are the worst movie cameos.
Yeah, when it's the guy on stage is partying.
Yeah, like Red Foo in Alvin and the Chipmunks. Like,
I didn't see
dude,
that.
Show some restraint.
What's he doing in there? Running around in his underwear?
No, yeah, he's being like the DJ at the club.
Oh, I got it.
Hey, was Only Wanna Be With You Hootie's first single?
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure. Do you ever remember this one when you were sitting in the club back in 1995?
In the club, JJ Rossi's in Halifax?
I'll give you $100 if you can name this artist. No chance.
Is it
Right?
Canadian?
No.
Huh.
There's no way.
One hit wonder?
This would be good for like the last question in the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? It's Corona.
I never would have known
Rhythm
that.
of the Night.
Not to be confused with El DeBarge, Rhythm of the Night.
Yeah.
Corona, never heard of them.
Yeah, it's just this girl, Corona. She's jamming, and they got the big thing with the CNE when they're hanging on the seats flying around lights thing.
I got,
background.
probably circa 1995, acid wash jeans with slats in the front and red plaid sewn inside the jeans so that when you could see through the rips, you could see red plaid underneath. And I had a leather Flags of the World jacket from Randy River.
Mm-hmm.
And I meant it.
You did, eh?
Yeah. I could see myself walking around in that outfit listening to that song.
I remember everyone was starting to wear the huge fucking pants at this point.
Edwin French baggies bought.
Those huge ones, though, like the Len pants?
Well, do you mean like the hammer pants?
No, like the ones that everyone started wearing in 95 to like 98. Those big, massive, like 40, 30 looking Maz, but like normal.
Like parachute pants?
No, man. Huge pants. Like
I don't know the
Biscuit
reference.
fans pants.
Oh, like Zubaz weightlifting pants?
No, like big, huge jeans that are like 2 feet wide and they go all the way down and your like feet are bare and like it's like bell bottoms, but the whole way up. Did you somehow just happily forget that one?
I don't know. I'm drawing a total mental blank.
Yeah, big, huge pants and then big t-shirts. Big, thick, wide leg pants.
Do you mean like hip hop masks?
Yeah, kinda. But it was just like white guy in Florida. Looks like they should be shorts, but there's like 400 feet wide.
Because I know when T, my homie from Trailer Park,
Yeah.
I think it was around the time the show started, he would roll in t-shirts that went to his knees.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
I
Same
love
size.
that look. But
How
my
about
problem
this?
was, anytime there was a trend in hip hop, like golf shirts were the thing for a while, I just looked
Yeah.
like a golf knob.
No kidding.
It's hard to look hard when you got no eyebrows.
You were a skinny blonde dude with a... You go to Jack Wagner as soon as you put on that.
That's the problem.
On the golf course.
Jack Wagner's a good golfer, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Here's another jam. Big Papa.
Yeah.
See, it's got that straight beat, but it's Puff Daddy this time. The Bad Boy Records.
Done tour this summer, right? The reunion tour.
Him in a hologram?
Yeah.
Really?
Hologram at me.
I'll tell you what, though, this guy, this is, to me, this first album. It's similar to the Dre's first stuff, where it sounds like soul music, you know what I mean? Like the way the background is and stuff.
I just know it's hard to sit still to it.
Yeah, and, well, Biggie's rhythm in his voice was ridiculous. He was like Buddy Rich of rhythm in terms of rap. So, like, fat and slow and perfect.
So what
Put
you're
this
saying
on,
is
just chill
sometimes
out.
he rhymes slow, sometimes he rhymes quick?
Know how he's on the beat? Like, it's just like if a guy was like an amazing like shaker player or conga player, like it's just locked in its own rhythm. The voice creates a rhythm, almost like the beat.
Right.
You know, like rap now, it's just all fast and a lot of guys like, or the way that, you know, even like rock rap, it's just kind of all over the place. Where this is so locked in.
It's dialed.
I think that's why people would be like, man, he would just start rapping by himself. He didn't need a beat. You're just all of a sudden like, man, this guy's got the pocket.
Very few folks can rap faster than T.I.
Yeah. It's 100-mile-an-hour raps.
Yeah.
Remember Big Boy from one of my favorite bands, Outkast? Yeah, he could rap quick too.
Is fast impressive? I guess it is.
It depends. Not to me. But sometimes it depends. Some people are just, they get known for what they're saying.
Right.
But like, I bet you Biggie could have just rapped about an orange and how good it tasted, and you'd just be like, man, that was awesome.
That was dope.
Yeah. The juice hit my mouth and exploded. Sitting on the couch, just killing it.
I actually really like to hear a rap
Got
about
my
an
rind
orange.
on my mind as I'm ripping it open.
What other 95 jams, Bod?
Oh, we got another classic right here. Maybe you remember this one from one of our radio stations.
Yeah.
Hey?
The Waterfalls.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Kind of a momentous year for TNT. For
This
music.
year.
Yeah, eh?
Or 95. Yeah, it sure
95.
was. Most of our oeuvre was born out of songs from 1995. This one just about broke me.
But what's funny is there's people that have tweeted or written in saying that they've been sitting around and they start cracking up when this is on. That must be a funny reaction. Like, what's funny about this song?
Nothing.
Like, it's one thing, like Hootie too. People like, even I can't stop. I start laughing when I hear Hootie and the Blowfish.
I know.
Only
I know, but it's a better reaction than like rolling your eyes internally.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Waterfalls was 95. Wow.
Yeah.
Where were you in 95? Were you in the band yet?
I was on tour.
Crazy.
That was like the year of the Van Halen tour.
Hey, we met in St. John's. We met a guy that was out on the road with you guys.
Yeah, Glenn Pardy.
Yeah.
Classic Glenn Pardy he used to work with Coalition Management as like a tech. And he was, I think Kevin Meikle and him worked together with, like, way back in the day for a lot of Coalition bands. And then Glenn came out with us a couple tours, and he's just a classic bod from Newfoundland.
Solid dude. Tell the story that Glenn told me.
Yeah, he's like, this guy, this guy's crazy because one time in a day off on tour, I think I was just rooming with him, and for kicks, he passed out, and I started putting everything in the room on top of him. Like, I put the lower table right over him, so then I could start assembling stuff around him without like him noticing. He was out, like I think he was banged up and passed out. But I put everything in the room, like the desks and the table,
lamps, drawers.
It was the whole place. The whole thing was on the bed. And he finally gets up, and I'm like, "Hey, Glenn, what's going on?" He's like, "What the fuck is going on?" He couldn't get out. He couldn't move.
So what happened? Did you have to help him?
I had to take it all down to get him out of there, but it was just worth the riot. He was done. He started getting angry because it was taking so long, and he was stuck in there.
And that was before they fastened things down.
And
you
he
can't
probably
get
had
anything up now.
Heavy hangover.
Waking up pinned in your bed.
Yeah, that was a good times.
Did you ever? Early. Do you remember getting charged for like trashing rooms or anything?
I don't think so. Maybe, but I don't think so. I know we've done a few things, but we would always undo them, try and fix it before it was an issue.
What was the elapsed time?
I remember one time, which was ridiculous, was with the Trailer Park Boys, Mike, everybody, even Clattenburg was at this party in the room, in one of the hotel rooms, and we were doing this super banged up, like doing a thing where, like in the movies, when a guy would just like start a fake fight, but then go through the closet. And my buddy Alex, one of my best friends, was there that you met in Winnipeg. And he's doing this thing where it's like, "Don't talk to me like that. Who do you think you are?" And like punches fist right through the thing.
Did he?
Yeah, but he really pulled off the character like the big tough guy. And then we ended up like it was those little thin wood, like
slats.
Yes,
with the louvers.
Yes, and his fist went through them. They all broke. But then, and so we put all the pieces back, and then we were even using like the Baileys
to try to stick
match the color.
Oh my gosh!
We put all the blinds back together, and then like it looked like if you touched it, it would have shattered, but it looked like it was okay.
Whose room was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember, man. It was someone it was whatever. It was the OLP tour, so we were, it was on one of our rooms, and just either us or one of those guys. But man,
what was the time lapse from you joined the band to your opening for Halen? It must have happened quickly.
Yeah, 93 was when we started recording Naveed, and then it was out in 94 in Canada, and then 95 is when it came out in America, and that's when we did the touring down there.
That's crazy. So did they hear you guys and want you to open for them, or was it a label thing?
Well, I think because we were doing well at rock radio with Starseed, they wanted a band that was on the radio and young and new, and that was pretty much us. And it was Robert Plant who heard us on the radio and called his manager. "Who are these guys?
No.
Let's have them up." Yeah.
Let's have a wank.
The Plant Page tour.
No.
That same summer. Yeah, it was pretty cool doing that.
What was he like?
Awesome. Page was cool. He was Plant was really nice. He hung out and have lunch with us, and
really,
just he was.
Was that like when he was talking about Atlanta Miles?
Yes. So the country's not big enough for me and her.
But they
were at an item at the time, but just broke up, I think.
Black Velvet.
Yeah.
Operation Black Velvet.
Yeah.
So Plant and Page were cool.
Totally.
And then they would have said to Halen, "You should have these guys. They're great."
Well, no, that just was we did that, and then like a month later, I think it was all kind of. I know that I'm assuming the Van Halen stuff probably would have had to do with also Ray Daniels, who was Canadian and also manages Rush. But at that time, he was managing Van Halen as well. So he knew about us as well. So
was opening for Van Halen cool at the time or cool in retrospect?
Well, I mean, it was interesting because at that time we were getting alternative radio play in America and we were getting rock radio, but I mean, we were hoping that it would lean towards alternative because when you're on alternative radio, there's more press and there's all that stuff. If you're rock, it's like you're probably still maintain a huge live following, but with the alternative would come the press that followed and radio stations like K-Rock in LA that were down with you and all that stuff. You would get to do shows with more modern bands that are popular. So, but I mean, by going with Van Halen, it was kind of our first start. So it was, you didn't like, it was great and good for us, but at the time we thought it was like, oh really? Like it would have been nicer to be on, you know, a hit, like, you know, doing
Pearl Jam or something
up for Radiohead or doing shows with Jeff Buckley or something like that at the time.
Wow, so even then it was like, I don't know, they're a bit mainstreamy.
Van Halen, yeah. Well, because at that point they were kind of classic rock almost.
Right.
You know, as amazing as they were. So it's just like trying to think about the differences of those two different genres of, and when you go that way, that sometimes alternative radio will be like, okay, then well that guarantees they're a rock band and it's okay not to play them anymore, you know.
I want you to tell the story about what Eddie Van Halen had on stage, but we have to take a break.
Yeah.
Be right back, Panama.
Fucking ready.
It's so nice to see you again. Bryan Adams does not understand that it should come from your soul.
Do him talking about like making the best sliders at the white spot that you can get.
It doesn't matter what I am doing. If I'm sorting recyclables or I am working at the white spot, it comes from the pelvis. You have to put it into him. Bryan Adams does not understand what you sing. You should sing with love. This Mutt Lang who writes list.
How about if Salvador on a date, sometimes he wears one of those Zorro masks.
And a bolo tie?
Yeah.
This, I think, I was
he walks in, he's like, some women wear scarves.
I wear a bolo
why.
ties. Excuse me, I noticed that the taquitos are gone for the day. I think this song is when I really stepped back from Bryan Adams and thought, I don't even know what you meant. Like, why is he doing this? Was this from Robin Hood?
No, it's the Johnny Depp Zorro type movie. I don't even remember what it was called.
With Catherine Zeta-Mask?
Was she in it? I don't remember. Shot in Spain at Casa La Bravos Reales in Malaga.
Do you know what the worst was?
What?
All for One and One for Love.
Oh, yeah.
Was that Peter Pan? No. Robin Hood?
No, that was Robin Hood. The ones when they're chirping that Rod Stewart's late at the beginning.
Oh.
At the video.
Bryan Adams, Rod Stewart, and Sting. That was 93.
Yeah.
That was a terrible song.
Oh, that's really bad.
So, what movie is this? Have you ever really?
I told you that. The Johnny Depp Zorro one. I don't know what the hell that's called.
So was Catherine Zeta-Mask in it?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm just gonna start keep asking the same questions till you.
He's going back. I don't remember.
Record?
I don't know. You want me to check the Zorro?
No, I'm going to the wiki. It's a song written by Bryan Adams and Robert John Mutt Lang, and recorded by Adams for the film. Have you really ever loved a Matt?
That's the name of the movie?
Yeah. Oh, Don Juan DeMarco. That was it. Don Juan DeMarco.
That's it.
It was not to be confused with Zorro, starring Catherine Zeta-Mask and Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because these are the kinds of things that Buds will blow us up on.
Oh, I know.
Buds will be like, guys, that was Dre. That was Timbaland,
I know, and I can't
Dre.
believe I mistook Versus for Vitology by Pearl Jam in the previous episode.
And you got roasted.
I apologize.
But in fairness, Buds are
Everything
generally
gets foggy.
kind.
20 years, man. Foggy brain. Can't remember everything.
Buds are
Remember
kind on the
lots.
correction, though. They usually say, like, oh, just so you know, I'm not sure if you realized, right? It's like that. It's not...
Yeah, there's nobody like, hey, figure it out, dude. Get your stuff together. No, it's all been friendly and happy.
There's none of that
corrections.
beeswax.
Oh, show.
We have to reveal the winners of our What Won't Meatloaf Do contest.
Yes.
There were
some
so
good
many
ones.
great ones.
Can you fire a couple off? Because I remember some classics.
Yes. Eat Meatloaf Ironically from No
Nice.
Rules Radio. From Terry Sawcock. I would do anything for love, but I won't buy a house from that Pecker Gary Lake.
That's a good one.
Good one. Mr. MSG Free won't go to your GD Kids recital no matter how talented you think they are.
Beautiful.
From Joe Balaneski, hold his woman's purse while she shops. From Aaron, wear a man's ear. From Ricky Fried, support the Maple Leafs.
I think one of them won't talk about Fight Club.
That was Blake Sparks at Tree Salmon. Say no to seconds from Penny. Not surprisingly, there were a lot that had to do with his shape.
Yeah.
Jerry Mercer, who's won a contest before. Thursday Zumba at the Legion, accompanied by a funny picture. Adam Driscoll, butt stuff. Won't do any of that. Tyler Conium had some good ones, including one in the top 3, which we'll read in a second. Kiss during sex, rehab, won't eat salad for love. But there were 3 that really caught our ear. I mean, so many good ones. Thank you so much, Bods. All worthy of winning. But this from Phil Vamos. He won't reenact the pottery scene from the movie Ghost. That's a winner because it's so specific.
Wow.
From Renee Saulnier, won't stand in line at Subway so he doesn't smell like that mask when he leaves.
That's
so
classic.
true. And this one from Tyler Conium, I would do anything for love, but I won't dress up as Zeddy, the Zeller's bear.
Yeah.
So there's our top 3 right there, Buds. We will reach out to you guys to get addresses and fire some snapbacks.
Snapback is...
Fire some snapbacks your way.
And in Toronto, there's the great snapback giveaway.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to be in Toronto on News Talk 1010 Sunday night from 8 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
It occurs to me that because I'm going to be in town, I could actually bring some.
Yeah.
So as lo-fi as this is, if you are a bud and you want to buy a snapback, meet us at News Talk 1010 Sunday night at 9 p.m.
It's at John and Duncan, right at the back of Much Music, the kitty corner side, but the back corner.
And
right
we will
on Richmond.
literally stand outside with hats for, let's say, 20 minutes. 9:05 to 9:25.
Yeah.
We will
want a
stand up there,
snapback,
and we will sell snapback
it.
hats for $20.
Yes.
So maybe you have that bud on your Christmas list who's trying to get one. Maybe your lady friend is looking for some tips for what to get you for Christmas. Richmond and Duncan, Sunday night, December 4th, from 9:05 to 9:25, cash only.
Cash only.
It's greasy,
Classic.
but I think it's fun.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah.
It's a bod meetup is what it is.
It is. It's an impromptu bud street corner meetup.
Yeah. If you want to meet up, say hi too, that's fine.
And really, the reason for doing it is because happens to be around the holiday season.
And a lot of people say, because the snapbacks aren't available on the merch on the website of the Taggart and Torrens.
We're working on it, but if you needed one in time for the Christmas season, then there's your chance to get it.
Beautiful.
All right.
We'll hammer this on the Twitter as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You're darn tootin'.
Do you want to hear another jam?
Yes, I do.
Here's another Canadian classic of 1995 from our friend Brad and the boys and girl.
Oh, this was we need something upbeat. Right?
For Dumb and Dumber, right? And it's like It's an XTC song, which is pretty much exactly the same as this, but Ellen sings this one.
It was her.
Brad
She
does
was going to leave the
backups.
band unless she got to sing lead on a song. This was them showing range.
Maybe Brad couldn't handle the range of it.
What do you mean? It's an XTC song. They wrote it?
XTC, yeah.
Like of Dear God fame?
You'll be surprised how similar it is. It's pretty much
Like, Dear God, sorry to disturb you, but same
that
XTC?
band. Yes,
Crazy.
that XTC.
One of the
me
games
give
that
you
we
the
were talking about
comparison.
playing, and it's kind of hard to describe, is the gist of it is, do they have to work again? Right?
XTC?
No.
Or-
remember we
yeah.
were talking about
The
different
game, yeah, that's a good one.
different bands. Like, if you were in Treble Charger, do you ever have
Yeah.
to work again? Or was that enough to retire and
say-
coast?
I would say probably working again.
It-
And there's a lot of bands that were super successful where you got to work again because you know, lots of people spend a lot of money as well.
Is it safe to say that if a band was big in Canada and nowhere else, they probably still have to work again?
I think the Hip are probably the only band that can say that.
Blue Rodeo?
Maybe, yeah, but they still tour, and it's not like when you're playing like huge arenas in America for years. I mean, you can generate millions of dollars, but in Canada, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is a lot of money.
Right.
But it's not like the same. There's a big difference.
Well, and both Blue Rodeo and the Hip have 5 dudes to keep paid,
Yeah.
right?
And families and living in the city becomes expensive when you're doing well. So yeah. I mean I don't think, I'm sure if you're in Blue Rodeo it's a similar situation, probably close to mine, you know what I mean, in terms of the success, where you had a pretty good run in Canada for a long time, that if you invest properly, you should be okay for a while.
You guys were huge. Like,
You
what about
guys
that
were
David Usher?
huge.
Does he have to work again?
David Usher?
Yeah.
From Moist? I don't think so, because even Moist, at their biggest point, weren't like headlining arenas like Maple Leaf Gardens, selling them out.
So you think he
ACC.
does have to work again?
Sure.
What about Matthew Good?
Well, he is working again.
Maybe
If
it's
he
more
st-
fun to do with
I would say
one-hit wonders in
For
the
sure.
States. Because, safe to say, hard-working Canadian band probably still has to... It's Workin Hard or Hawksley Workman. That's the Canadian
That's
version
a great
of that
one.
saying.
That's a game.
Workin Hard
for
or
sure.
Hawksley Workman.
Well, because you and I know how, playing a place where you can have a lot of radio, and we're filling a lot of rooms at bands that have, big songs on the radio, and it's still 400 or 500 people, and it isn't going to make you sit at home and go, oh, I don't have to work anymore.
And
There's a big difference between clubs and then theaters and then arenas. It's just like, if you're playing arenas for 15 years, then you should be able to be fine. But if you're playing, theaters sometimes and big clubs and then the odd arena, then it's good, but you're still having to continue to work, because it's not, you don't just sit around and count the money. When you, like I said, it's a difference of hundreds of thousands and millions.
Rush, Hawksley Workman. Triumph, Workin Hard. That's the difference.
Rush don't ever have to work again.
Yeah.
That's like, they didn't have to work anymore in the 90s probably.
It's ironic
they
that
were-
Hawksley Workman is the phrase that we're using for people that never have to work again, because he works hard.
Yeah, and he does well, actually.
Yeah.
And he's lucky because
A couple things.
he's worked hard, but he can play in France. He has a great following, and lots of people listen to him there. So he can rely on other territories, which is the other thing. Like, some bands are huge. Like, remember that band Harem Scarum?
Yeah.
They're big enough in Asia that's what they did for the last 20 years or whatever, just going over there and being successful.
All I want in the world is a T-shirt that says Workin Hard or Hawksley Workman.
I love that song. I want to hear that song.
Me too.
That's a good jam on itself.
Let's play the American one-hit wonder. The Come My Lady, Come My Lady, You're My Butterfly, Sugar Baby. Do they? I mean, I know one of them perished, but...
I thought they both perished.
Really?
We've already been there, haven't we? Yeah, I think so. I think they both died.
Okay, but I guess my point is, if they hadn't, they had a big song that probably went to number one once. Workin Hard or Hawksley Workman?
Hawksley Workman.
Really?
Yeah.
They never have to work again.
Like Seal, Kiss from a Rose.
Never has to work again.
But he rolls high, so he has to work again. You know what I mean?
He was trying to...
That's why I say Rush is probably like never has to work again the most, because most importantly, they haven't had like personal life changes that can affect you financially, like divorces and stuff. You know what I mean? Like they're with their high school sweethearts, with the exception of Neil. But I mean, they're with the women that they've always been with. They're happily relationships. They've never had to give everything away in 3 or 4 times like some other bands, like Van Halen. Even Van Halen, they're like, those guys would, you know, I think Alex was divorced a couple of times. That's probably going to cost you a little bit.
Oh yeah, tell the people what Van Halen had on stage. This is so rock and roll to me.
Just the techs would have their own bars, you mean? Like
Yeah.
Well, because it was such a big stage and gear, and it's Van Halen, so they all have like legendary equipment. Like, you know, Alex's drums are huge, and there's just so much to it. And Eddie Van Halen's rig and Michael Anthony had cabinets galore, so they were a pretty tech savvy band. And each of their techs had little stations, workstations, with like Michael Anthony had the Mad Anthony Cafe with the tiki hut. And
on stage
behind the cabinets, because you think there's that wall of cabinets, so it creates this huge space. Or like the stages are so big, they'll set it up just off the stage, and they'll have this massive area where they're partying.
Can you even imagine the excess? Great. Are you kidding? It's great.
Yeah. I remember one time Alex was telling me a story way back in the 80s where his tech was like sitting there, and there was this one section of their set where Alex would light a gong on fire. Like he would light the mallet and hit the gong, and it would all burn up or whatever. But the gas, like some of it got on his arm.
So what happened?
He's like, his arms, he's on fire, and he looks over at his tech, and the tech's smoking a joint, and he's got his thumb out, and he's like, "Looks fucking great, man."
No.
He thought it was part of the show. He had to end up like rolling, like he had a fire extinguisher right there. That was his job.
And he just gave him a thumbs up.
Fucking great, man. Like, yeah, I lit my arm on fire on purpose, man.
Oh my gosh.
You're fired.
What's the biggest circus you ever saw? Like, I assume all the Van Halen guys had their own buses, right?
Yeah, or it was even more. I think they would just like fly to each place and then get picked up by cars.
Really?
Yeah.
Like they don't even bus?
No. They would show up in a big black truck.
Wow.
Yep.
Was that the most excess you've ever witnessed?
Well, they weren't really excessive. It wasn't crazy with them as much like as their old days. I'm sure it was way more crazy in the 80s. But the other, I mean, I don't know. I think like we never got to do the full on like see the ridiculous. Like we heard like stories about other bands like at the time that were really big, like Limp Bizkits and the Corns and stuff, where they would just like party at these crazy places and bring massive quantities of
everything,
excess and women and stuff. But yeah, didn't get to
Fred Durst.
Other than strippers galore at Van Halen, that was pretty much it.
Which, you know, that's a pretty rock and roll moment right there.
Totally. For sure.
Good chatting, bud.
Good chatting.
As usual, thanks for being a good friend. Thanks for going out on the road with me.
Yeah, man.
And to you, buds, thanks for listening. Yeah, we're going to hit the rest of Canada in spring 17. We're working on locking in the dates. We have some exciting announcements to come in the weeks ahead,
Yep.
including figuring out where we're going to do our 100th episode, which is a significant milestone.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
which would be a Bud House 2.0.
yeah, let's do it.
I'm in.
Meanwhile, we'll talk to you next week. Hey, Susan Torrens, this one's for you, bud. We'll see you down the road.